Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Min Long Yu from Kaohsiung Medical University, Taiwan Liver Research Foundation, and Taiwan Association for the Study of the Liver, Taiwan. It's my great pleasure to share you the Taiwan best practice in political prioritization in the HCV elimination. As we know that before 2017, my country, Taiwan, was listed one of the 80% of high-income countries that are not under threat to meet the WHO goal by 2030. And the achievement date is expected even far behind 2050. As being one of the key members in Liver Society of Taiwan, it is our responsibility to not only increase the public awareness, but also increase the government awareness to have commitment in the HCV elimination. Therefore, we try to review all of the key factors for the achieving HCV elimination, such as the political will, the finance at the national level, the harm reduction program, and capacity of the specialist healthcare providers, and to remove the treatment restriction, implementation of the guideline for monitoring and the evaluation, and also the implementation of the screening and the link to care program at national level. But finally, we find that the most important one is the political will. Therefore, we try to implement many actions, try to persuade the government to put the HCV elimination as political prioritization. The first one is to estimate the HCV disease burden in Taiwan, and then we try to provide the evidence of anti-HCV therapy to persuade the government that the treatment of HCV is beneficial for our people in Taiwan. And then we try to identify the barrier toward the HCV elimination, and try to leverage the government engagement to optimizing the care cascade. And then finally, we try to collaborate with the government, the NGO, and the healthcare provider, and to execute the policy of the national HCV control everywhere in Taiwan. So the first step is try to establish the whole population of HCV patients in Taiwan. We consolidate multiple databases, such as the database from journal published manuscript, and also to database from nation program. And eventually, we estimated that the number of anti-HCV positive subjects in Taiwan is around 623,000 people in Taiwan, and with about 75% of virulence rates, we estimate the number of HCV positive subjects is around 405,000 people in Taiwan. That's the number we need to treat. And with such high HCV burden, we can expect that we are lead to much higher HCC incidence and mortality when compare the Taiwan database to the other countries. So undoubtedly, you can see the HCC incidence and the HCC mortality rates increase over time from year 1986 to year 2003. Therefore, the government decided to launch an antiviral hepatitis program in October 2003 to treat the HBV and HCV patients, but use the antiviral regimen. And we are lucky that we can see in the first 10 years of the antiviral therapy program, you can see the rates of HCV incidence and also the HCV mortality decreased over time. And eventually, you can see we have a 24% reduction in the HCC mortality and a 14% reduction in the HCC incidence rates in the first 10 years after launching the antiviral therapy program in Taiwan. Therefore, with the evidence here, we can persuade the government to set the HCV elimination program at national level. So eventually, the Taiwan government decided to set up the Taiwan National Hep C Program Office in December 2016. That includes six task force groups. They work together and try to evaluate the disease burden, the barrier, and to make the strategy and policy toward the HCV elimination. But before we can make the policy, we have to know the real status of HCV control at the moment. For example, we know that the community effectiveness of anti-HCV therapy is not equal to the clinical efficacy in our clinics, because the community effectiveness is equal to the multiplication of the rates of diagnosis, awareness, accessibility, the rate of the recommendation to receive antiviral therapy, and finally, the rate of clinical efficacy. Therefore, in this large-scale model we set up in 2012, you can see less than half of the subjects have disease awareness. More than half of the subjects, they don't have awareness, they have the disease. And only less than 20% of the patients have been assessed to a doctor, and only about 13% of the patients have been recommended to receive the antiviral therapy. And even we have a very high clinical efficacy with peg interferon plus ribavirin at around 75% to 80%. We just cure around 11% of the total HCV population in Taiwan with the 10 years antiviral therapy program in Taiwan. The other reason for the high gap in the care cascade is that the patient, around one of the three patients was free of the adverse events, and the other 1 in 6 patients were ineligible to the pegariba at the time. Therefore, it is very important to induce and reimburse the interferon DA regimen before we can implement the HCV immunization program. We are lucky that in Taiwan we have almost all the available interferon-free DA regimen in the world, except the Soviet of us. So with such interferon-free DA regimen, we can cure more than 95% of the patient with very simple dosing and shorter treatment duration, and with a very high safety profile. We do see a light at the end of the tunnel in the HCV treatment. However, the introduction of the DA rests another barrier, the so-called financial barrier. Because at the time, to cure a patient, we need to spend around 11,000 to 80,000 US dollars. It's a huge budget impact. Therefore, we have to evaluate the cost effectiveness of the DAA before we can persuade the government to reimburse the DAA. Here is the example from Wisconsin. As you know, the treatment of genotype 1 is very difficult with traditional peg interferon plus ribavirin. Therefore, treat this patient population with second generation of DAA is cost effective when the cost is lower than 223,000 US dollars. However, we all know that it is not the case, especially not the case in Asia Pacific countries, because it's cost too high. No country can afford the cost to treat the HCV people in their country. But we also know that if we just stay at the interferon scenario, the benefit of antiviral therapy was much less than the benefit if we move to the DAA scenario. Therefore, we try to establish another cost-effective models by using the real-world cohort and link the cohort to National Health Insurance database and try to evaluate the cost to achieving an SVR by traditional peg interferon plus ribavirin. So we use around 2,000 subjects treated with peg interferon plus ribavirin. As shown in this table, you can see around half of genotype 1, half of genotype 2, 80% of genotype E, and 20% of G experience. The cost list here is to the cost to cure a patient. So after adjust the ratio of genotype distribution in Taiwan and the SVR rates of naive and experienced patients, we can have a cost of $8,030 to achieve a sustained virology response by picking the plus variant in Taiwan. Therefore, we use this data trying to persuade the government, and eventually the government and the National Health Insurance Administration of Taiwan agreed to reimburse a cost of $8,300 per SVR achieved with any DA regimen for HCV patients in Taiwan since 2016. So after getting the financial support, the next important step is to leverage the key influencers of Taiwan policymakers to gain the endorsement. Here I would like to share you the most important two political influencers. The first one is Professor Xi Chen. He is currently the Vice President of the Republic of Taiwan. He is also the Master of Public Health, involving hepatitis research in Taiwan as well as in the world. And the second most important people is Dr. Shi Zhongchen. He is the Minister of Health and Welfare. He has actively participated in the health forum related to the policy making for HCV elimination in Taiwan for a long time. So during the negotiation and the leverage of the key influencer, eventually we have 4 key milestones in the HCV elimination program. The first one is July 2016. Vice President Chen endorsed to eliminate HCV by 2030. The second one is December 2016. The Ministry of Health and Welfare from the National HCV Program Office, so-called the HCV Office. And the third one is in the January 2017, the National Health Insurance Administration start to reimburse the DAA regimen for the treatment of HCV. And finally is in the October 2018, the HCV Office announced the HCV paper to commitment to eliminate HCV by 2025. So why we can persuade the government to set a goal far earlier than the goal by WHO? It is because we demonstrate the benefits of accelerating the treatment earlier. It's very important. Therefore, to eliminate HCV by 2025, we have to treat more than 80% of HCV patients by 2025. And we also can achieve a 92% reduction in new HCV infection, and also to have an 80% reduction in the HCV-related mortality. It's far more when compared to the goal by the WHO. So with the goal of HCV achieved elimination by 2025, we next step had to set the target population we have to treat with DAA before 2025. So when you read the database from the national program, we know that it's around we have treated about 90,000 patients with interferon-based therapy between 2003 and 2016. Therefore, we target the DAA treated population at 250,000 subjects between 2017 to 2025. So overall, we can treat around 340,000 patients. It's encounter about 82% of our HCV patient population, so that we can achieve the goal of WHO by 2025. So with the goal, we set the milestone of the patient to be treated in each year. For example, we treat the patient initially around 10,000 a year in 2017, and increase to around 50 to 60,000 a year in 2020, and then maintained at around 25,000 per year until 2025. Here you can see the dark gray column indicates the patient in warehouse. That means the patient in our clinic. But in 2020, we have to find more patients because we have to find more patients who have no disease awareness. So it's the barrier we have to overcome. So after set up the goal and the milestone of the target population we have to treat each year, the TASO, Taiwan Association for Study of the Liver, started to maximize the media impact on the HCV policymaker, not only to increase the public awareness, but also to increase the government awareness, so that we can set many policy and strategy by the working party in the National HCV Office, for example, to ask the National Health Insurance Administration to continue support the finance, and ask the Taiwan CDC to implement a program for HCV new infection, and ask the Health Promotion Administration of Taiwan to implement the mass screening program for HCV, so that we have a chance to achieve the HCV elimination by 2025. For example, the National Health Insurance Administration, they set up the reimbursed priority and they increase the budget year by year, and eventually strive for no restriction. In the first year, at 2017, the budget is around the 72 million, with target population of 10,000 people for patients who are infected by genotype 1 and fail to prior Pelriba with advanced fibrosis only. And then we expand the criteria to all the patients with advanced fibrosis and increase the budget to $148 US with target population of around 20,000. And in 2019, the budget further increased to around 220 million, with all the patients with no nutritional criteria. Eventually, we treat around 45,000 people. So here is the result. You can see. In the first 3 years of DA reimbursement, we treat around 81,000 patients. And you can see the achievement is very high. The SBR rate was 97%, 97.4%, and 98.5% in the first, second, and third year. So cross-monitoring the treatment outcome could provide the evidence for the continuous support of the funding from the government. It's very important. So now you can say that the Taiwan is on the fast track toward the HCV elimination. The status of HCV infection in 2016 is not anymore. For example, the annual treated patient increased from 1% to 8.6% right now, and the annual days decreased from 5,700 to only 5,460, and the days per day decreased from 16 to 15. So we have the confidence that we can achieve the goal by 2025. You might be curious why you can't have the achievement just only with the 3 years. It's because the National HCV Office provided the strategy to close the gap in the care cascade. There are 3 core strategies. The first one is precision public health by targeting the patient defined. The second is continuing of care by linking the patient to care. And the final one is very important, is the localized care delivery by collaborating with the local health bureau and the healthcare provider, as well as the non-government organization. So the policy and strategy was executed not only based on the strategy also called macro elimination for the general population, but also with the strategy of micro elimination targeting different special groups such as uremia, PWID patients, the high-prevalence area, and the mountain and the rural remote areas. So how can we find the high HCV prevalence rate to execute the microimmunization? We perform a 7-index to estimate the HCV prevalence in 517 counties in Taiwan, with the strategy of the database of anti-HCV from the NGO screen, health check-up, blood donor, National Health Insurance Administration database, and also from the rates of HCV-related HCC from the hospital base and also the national program base. Therefore, we can figure out the Taiwan HCV map and stratify the 570 counties into 7 levels, with the level 7 have the highest HCV prevalence rate. So its account is around the 21 counties, is now be grouped in the level 7. So it's become the first priority. We have to execute the micro HCV elimination. So here I would like to share you the first program of people-centered outreach healthcare system targeting HCV microimmunization. It is the collaboration between Taiwan Liver Research Foundation and Kaohsiung Medical University Hospital. We choose the Zhugan. It's the second highest HCV prevalence rate in Taiwan, around the 25 to 30%. So we organize an outreach hepatitis screening team, screen the subject named here door by door. We call the door by door screening and find the patients. And then we send the patient to another outreach treater program. This outreach treater program, including the specialists such as hepatologists, nursing, technician, and pharmacists. And we assess the sonography and fiber scan on-site and prescribe the DAA on-site once the patient is diagnosed, so that we can ensure the treatment efficacy. So, for example, we first choose 2 villages in the Zhugan area. It had a highest HCV prevalence in the past. As is shown in this figure, during the first 15 years, the average anti-HCV prevalence rate was around 23%, HCV viral rate was around 70%, and only 1 in 4 subjects had disease awareness, and only 11% had been assessed to the doctor, and only less than 5% of the patient has been cured in the past 15 years. So last year, in January of 2019, we execute the COMPET program. We have screened around 2,000 subjects in the 2 HCV high endemic village. And we find that the anti-HCV prevalence was around 28%, with HCV viral rate at 17%, although the disease awareness increased to around 60% and the access rate increased to 48%, and the cure rate increased to around 25%. But there's still a 75% gap we have to overcome. So we try to transfer the patient to local HCV treater team. For the first 234 patients, 97% of the patients had been successfully assessed. And by the end of last year, 75% had initiated the DAA, and 71% had completed the DAA. And so far, the SBR rate was as high as 98%. So this is the real example of the cooperation of local public health bureau, healthcare provider, and the central governor, and also the non-profit and non-government organization. For example, the people who stand in the middle is the Minister of Health and Welfare, the Dr. Sitong Chen. He endorsed our program, and we incorporate with all of the healthcare provider in this area, and we aim to achieving high in HCV elimination in this HCV hyperendemic area. But you might know that not every not every country or not every area is easy to access and easy to send your screening team and the treater team to the remote or mountain area. For example, the second program we implement is to send our screening team and the treater team to the high mountain area. It's very inconvenient. Therefore, we have to consider about the medical resource, the transportation, the cost and timing of transportation, and the cost and timing of the healthcare provider. So, right now we have the niche, our 8 weeks regimen. With the shorter treatment duration, we can ensure the efficacy with the higher safety profiles and the good accessibility because the 8 weeks regimen could ensure the high adherence. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the political polarization, we can have the key to the success of HCV elimination in each country. Finally, I would like to share you a brief video to show how the commitment the Taiwanese leader make for our people in Taiwan in the treatment of HCV. Let's welcome Dr. Ing-wen Tsai. He's the President of Taiwan.
大家好，我是蔡英文。四型肝炎是咱台湾第2大的肝病，国内拢总有40万慢性死肝的病人，嘛就是有40万的家庭在受苦。早期治疗死肝的药啊，若是在美国一粒要3万块，一届会治疗3个月，至少要用250万。我唔甘大家受苦，请健保署斗3天，为2017年开始纳入健保。
So, colleagues from RV, it's the time to accelerate the HCV elimination with your shorter duration regimen, the GP8. Thank you for your attention. Follow me.